All right, bro.
How's it going, Brahman?
It's going pretty good, brother. What is this, podcast number 7 that we're on?
7 or
Number
8,
8?
man. We knocking these things out, man. We just
We're just
gotta
knocking
keep
it
on
right out of the
coming.
park.
Keep on coming. We're giving the people a lot of things to deal with. If they hop on late, they got a lot to catch up on.
Definitely. And I really like this week's topic because, you and I are both, we're into the personal development and we're into the, feed ourselves as much as we can. And, reading is probably, it might be the greatest success habit or one of them. What do you think?
Oh yeah. You talking about somebody who wants to be successful at any level.
Yeah.
Reading is very necessary. Because even if you think from let's say from a business standpoint, you need to read up on certain things of the topic that you're interested in. If you even say from the spiritual standpoint, you could read the spiritual text, but to get a deeper insight, you might need to look at other things.
Definitely. And, when you read, it uses all sorts of, parts of your mind and brain that you don't, because when you're watching TV, it's like all the work's for you. You're seeing it, you're hearing it. There's no imagination. When you're reading it, you're picturing what this looks like, what this sounds like, and your brain is in this mode, this imaginary creation mode that it never is. So it strengthens the brain. And, I read it and I believe it that when you read about someone, let's say you read about, Elon Musk, or you read about, Nelson Mandela, or you read about, just your favorite, athlete, you inherit the traits that person has.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like shaping you. Have you ever had that experience?
Oh,
A
yes.
powerful book like that?
Man, well, you think about in everything you do, but the book's more powerful because that same thing is done every time you watch a movie with a hero.
Yeah.
If you ever watch a child watch a movie, they'll take on that role as the hero after the movie's over. Like, I'm the hero. But so with the book, you're automatically, when you're reading the book, you automatically put yourself in that main character seat, and you're experiencing whatever they're experiencing. So yeah, no, definitely.
That is the best book where you can kind of, picture it's you. Yeah. So, we wanted to talk about books, but, and we both had some books that we were going to kind of recommend to our viewers. But before we did that, I just kind of wanted to talk about different types of books that I use. Do you kind of categorize your books differently? Because I kind of I have 3 types of books that I really read in terms of for, my, success and personal development. The first is like a mentality book. You know what I mean? And that book, like an example of a mentality book, is this one right here. It's a great book. I don't know if you've read it or not, but this is Awaken the Giant by Tony Robbins. And a mentality book, and Grant Cardone says this a lot. He says get your money mentality right, but it just gets your head straight. Make sure that your values, your beliefs, your thoughts, your dreams are what they need to be to really kickstart this thing off. If you want something but you hold some contradictory values, right, then it's not going to work out for you. Let's say you want to make mass amounts of wealth and money, but you have a problem charging the highest profits possible on your product, right? You're not able to do that. That's like a bit of a contradiction. You'll never have a successful business if you can't do that. That's just one example, but it's a mentality book.
Definitely.
And so when you're just, that's the first thing you need to do, is make sure that you're thinking about what you want. Make sure you've got your final vision, your end goal. You know what I mean? Your end game. You've got to know what that is. And you've got to have some kind of goal setting as well.
Yeah.
So that's, what do you think about that?
I mean, you're spot on, because your vocabulary is one of the most important things that dictates your success. You see, because if you notice any field of discipline you're in, In academia, in or outside of academia, you have to learn the vocabulary, the lingo.
Yes.
Whether it be real estate, marketing, personal training, spiritual guru, there's certain lingos that the professionals use. So if you're talking about being successful at life, you have to learn the lingo. Just like you were just talking about. And books allow you to learn the lingo, because essentially, like if somebody writes a mindset book, it's a testimony to the transformation they went through. So you're speeding up your own success by experiencing that person's life, by putting yourself in their driver's seat.
Exactly. That's a mindset book. So that's like the first type of book I use. The second type of book I use is a motivational book. And you have to read the mindset book first. If you read a motivational book first, sometimes you get all charged up about something, but you don't have a bigger vision of what you're really doing with it. So the motivational book I'm recommending, and it's just 10X rule. That's an example of a motivational book.
Okay.
Right. That's my second type of books. So definitely you don't want to start with a motivational book first. Get your vision right. Get your head straight. You don't want to be all jacked up and have nowhere to go. Or banging up the wrong tree. The third type of book that I read, and this is just an example, if you're into retail or shoes or shoe, this is Shoe Dog, but that's a specialization book. And that to me usually comes after I'm motivated. And whatever your field is, you can read these specialization books, but those are just the three types of books I tend to rotate in and out there.
Okay.
And, anytime I feel I'm lost in life, I read a kind of a mindset book. If I know what I want, but I don't feel that I'm hustling hard enough, I'll read a motivational book. If I don't feel like I'm performing to my level, or I need to take it, up a notch or close some more deals, or I think I'm getting rusty, I will read a specialization book to get better vocabulary, get with more of the cutting edge of what's out there in my field, and just, really be current. And that's where I can really come across as the expert, the specialist.
Yeah.
Which I think is always important, in your, whatever your chosen path is to come across as
that vocabulary.
Yes.
Life and death is in the tongue. I love how you broke that down to that mindset, that motivation, and the specialization. Yeah, those are three major categories that could uplift anybody. Getting your mind right, what type of direction you're going in, that engine, being the motivation, and then, really understanding the craft that you're in. I like
exactly. That. And for me, I work, in a business setting as well. So my specialization book, it could be something technology related, or it could be something spiritual as well, because of me being so spiritually involved, the reason why we do this podcast. So it's, I get to switch it up quite a bit.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really important.
Yeah, brother. But let's get it started. What was, one of the books that you wanted to recommend to our viewers today?
Well, first let me go through my books.
Sure.
Give a preview. Let me give a preview of mine.
Sure. Those weren't actually my books. Those were just examples to illustrate the three different types of books.
Oh, damn.
So my books are actually different. Yeah.
You came a little bit more prepared than me then. I got my bookshelf back here. You might make me go to the bookshelf.
Then you've got unlimited arsenal.
The bookshelf about 3 feet away. Oh man, those was some dynamite books.
The ones that I showed there?
Yeah.
Have you read any of them?
I have not. I have not read. Which one did you show?
It was
10X Rule. I have read.
Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, which is
not read.
Shoe Dog is so fantastic. You know what I mean? That if they made that into a movie, that would be an Oscar-winning movie, and Leonardo DiCaprio would be the actor or something. That's a damn good book.
I've checked that one out. The other two I have, I've heard the audio of Awaken the
Giant. That's Tony Robbins.
I've heard that, and then the other one is 10X Rule, and I've went
10X
through that about 2 or 3 times. So
yeah, exactly.
Which is always a good. Yeah, that's a really good one.
Oh, you can't. That to me is the top motivational book. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'll turn it over to you. What do you
Um,
got going on? I,
so I would say that the three types of books that I like. So I'm really a history guy.
yeah,
From the conversations that we have off the line and stuff like that. I'm really like a history, and I like to put things in perspective. That's just the way my mind works. So have a lot of different books on history. Um, I would say mindset,
yeah,
different mindset. I'm really big studier on leadership,
yes.
finances. Uh,
That's good to be well rounded. I always talk about finance to a certain extent when it comes to personal development and spirituality,
yeah.
because money is a direct show or correlation of how much value you're bringing into the world,
Value. Oh man, I
right?
love it. Yeah, and then your vocabulary is just right, spot on. Because that's why
Yeah,
people
thank
that
you.
don't seek money, it just
Yeah,
overflows. But people that's just like, oh, I'm worried about my salary. No, worry about the value you bring to the
that you're bringing, and it will pay you,
and it's gonna pay you.
right?
It's gonna pay you even when you're not even trying to get paid. You know.
Money will only come to those who prepare for it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Man,
And so
that
that's
sounds
what it's all about, man.
yeah, that's a gem right there. You just got super deep. Money will
Hey,
come for those that prepare. No, that's the truth, man.
yeah.
That's why people that
Unless you,
just chasing. Go ahead.
even you gotta even prepare to win the lottery.
Yeah. Oh
You
my
got to go and
goodness.
every day and ritually grab it.
That's that. And then for the people that have won it, I bet you they wish they would have prepared. I mean, most of
Yeah.
them people go broke. I mean, crazy. I was seeing some crazy stories on them, but I digress though. So, um, yeah, I'm a history guy, mindset, some motivation, some financial stuff. A lot of my stuff is on different education topics,
Yep.
spirituality, some different ones. So, all
Mm-hmm.
right, let's get this March Madness tournament going. You know, you're
Let's
three
do a
now,
show
don't
and
you?
tell. Let's do it.
Show and tell. Okay, let's see I'm gonna let you go first in the March Madness tournament.
Well, I've got two. I've got two. And so the first one that I brought here, and this is the kind of the mindset motivational one. This is Think and Grow Rich
Oh
by
man.
Napoleon Hill, which some people and I call it a mindset book, right? And some people say it's the greatest success book, or it was the first success book. But basically, Napoleon Hill decided that he was going to study success. And he went around basically interviewing all these successful people. And he wanted to find out what really makes the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people. And all through the book, he gives you many stories and examples of success. And he doesn't exactly tell you what the main difference is. You just have to read that for yourself.
Yeah.
But it becomes clear that what it is when you go through this book. So basically, Think and Grow Rich, and I've got all these markers in there. It is about, not only does it get your head straight, but it's a little bit spiritual as well, because it talks about the transmutation of desire. And I talk about it like the law of attraction. Basically, it talks about how to turn pure desire into riches
Mm,
or pure success.
mm.
That's what it talks about. And have you read the book there,
Oh yeah. Oh
bro?
man. Oh man. I got a whole private set for Napoleon Hill because I'm a very big fan. He was my I want to say he was my January or February research person. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I pick one author and then I'll just go in. But yeah, Think and Grow Rich, that's an iconic book, man. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
many people talk about that book, man. No, definitely. So definitely a
So many
mentor.
people talk about that book. Let me
Great
just
book.
read a little passage here. And this says, a long while ago, a great warrior faced a situation which made it necessary for him to make a decision which ensured his success. He was about to send his armies against a powerful foe, whose men outnumbered his own. He loaded his soldiers into boats, sailed to the army's country, unloaded soldiers and equipment, and gave the order to burn the ships that had carried them. Addressing his men before the first battle, he said, "You see the boats going up in smoke? That means we cannot leave these shores unless we are alive." We now have no choice but to win or to perish.
Mm. Burn the boats.
Burn the boats mentality.
Burn the boats.
And again and again and again, the situation, if you read the down to the root of the stories, it's that burn the boats mentality, the fact that there was no alternative. There was
Yeah.
no other way. There was no for an answer. There was no tomorrow. It was do or die.
Yeah.
Literally 100% all in, every last dime, hour,
Everything you
minute.
got. Everything you got. And then 10% more, 20% more. I used that philosophy when I first started my business. I said, it's time to burn the boats.
Yeah.
It's all in. You got to be
Mm-hmm.
relentless when it comes to.
We're
So I
taking their
understand.
boats home.
Yeah, I understand why you say that's mindset, because it's like, hey, yeah, we're taking their boats home. Matter of fact, their home is our home now. Grab a hut after we get done kicking
Mm-hmm.
some behind. Burn the
Mm-hmm.
boats. Ooh, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, he lists off actually 6 ways to turn desires into quote unquote gold. And just lift them off. The first one says, fix your mind on the exact amount of money you desire. It's not sufficient to say, I want a lot of money. I mean, like the exact number. Write it down, right? To the dollar, to the cent, right? That's step 1. Step 2, he says, determine exactly what you intend to give in return for that which it is you desire, right? Step number 3, establish a definite date when you intend to possess the money you desire. So specific day, year, month, be as specific as possible. Step 4, create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once, whether you are ready or not. Put it into action. Step 5, write out a clear, concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire. Name the time limit for its acquisition. State what you intend to give in return for the money, and describe clearly the plan through which you intend to accumulate it. So kind of restating it, then writing a plan. And then step number 6, write or read your written statement out loud twice daily, once just before retiring at night and once just arising in the morning. And see and feel and believe yourself already in possession of the money.
Mm.
So that is the 6-step process he put into place. And later on in the book, he goes to say it's not good enough to just read it. You must read it full of emotion with absolute conviction. What do
Burn.
what
Well,
do you think about
it goes hand in hand what you just said, burn the boats, because sometimes we go after something, but we don't go after it with complete conviction. We'll say that we want to, we'll use the example, use financial wealth. Well, I want
Yeah.
$1 million, but you're not doing anything on a daily basis that adds up to $1 million. So I love the fact that he said, write down what you want. Now tell the universe what you're going to give for that. What value are you going to give for that? What are you going to do to get that? And that's really important too. And burning the boats, just cutting off all that negativity, no matter what, all them obstacles, only opportunities for you to hop over them, and just burn the boats and go for it. Go for broke, they say.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you'd be foolish to burn the boats without a plan, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's why, that'd be dumb. So
Yeah.
that's why he has you write out the plan as well. That's the mistake people make, is they've got all this desire, but they don't have a plan. But what has ever been accomplished without a plan?
Yeah.
Other
I
than
think
a sheer fluke.
everybody has desires and dreams. What slows the dream down, the vibratory frequency of the dreams, and brings it into reality, is actually having a plan. What brings that vision into clear sight puts it and helps you picture it vividly is actually having a plan. And then you're going to begin to execute like you never have done before. That's why he's saying do it in the morning and do it at night, because now your subconscious mind is even going to be a friend to you and go to work.
Absolutely. And the book itself, I mean, I don't even recall when it was written, but it was the like early 1900s.
I want to say 1926.
Yeah. And, when I originally was told about this book, I said, nah, nothing that old could be useful to me, especially when it comes to money. I didn't know about mentality. I
Yeah.
didn't know that these laws and principles existed.
Oh,
You know
man.
what I mean? So I thought, what am I going to learn from this? And when I read it, I thought, oh my God, money is a mentality. Rich and poor are not a value in your bank account. It's the way that you act. It's the way
Mindset.
that you think and believe.
Mm.
And I had this revelation all of a sudden about money. And I went from being someone who was a money, what can I say, hoarder, to someone who had more of an abundance mindset
Yeah.
and allowed money to work for me. And they say that if you're in sales and you don't spend money and you're cheap yourself, good luck convincing somebody else to spend their money with you. Only
Yeah.
when you have an abundance mindset can you excel in sales.
You have it all, man. Yeah, you have it all already. So just feel it and live in it. Like, I love that
Yeah.
what he said too, is just like, now get emotional about it and actually feel what that feels like, you know, and then you're going to have it. You're going to have it. Your bank account will reflect how you feel.
Feel it. Feel it. Feel it. I always said that emotions were the ink that stamp our desires into reality. Have you ever been so emotional and you said something and then you went and you actually did it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Use emotion.
You got to use it. You got to be a master of your emotions. Don't let it be a disturbance, like the Latin word that it comes from. Don't let it disturb you. Use it. Use it to drive what you will it to. That's when you become a master over your own life. When you take that wheel, like we talked about in previous episode, taking that wheel
Yeah.
and the subconscious mind, and then using your emotions. And you gave a great example in the prior episode too of talking about The Last Dance. See, Michael
Yeah.
Jordan was a master of his mind because he knew what motivated him. It might
Yes.
be somebody saying something to him, even if he made it up, he would focus on that and continue to focus on that and become a master of getting the wheel and using the emotions.
That's true. That's true. And, I just want to pause and just say, I actually bought 2 pairs of Jordans this weekend. Just, just thought I'd throw that in there. Awesome prices right now,
You will. Oh, are they?
because this whole COVID thing, just because you talked about Jordan. So why don't you go with one of your books now?
So one of my books, So Many and Not Enough Time. One of my books that I really dig. This one's a fresh copy because actually I've read this book about The Power of Now by Eli Tolek.
Yes.
Um, Man, I think I read this book at least maybe 4 or 5 times, if not better. Great.
It's one I haven't read.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
man.
I've been wanting to get my hands on it for a while. Just the situation never came about, but it's a glaring hole in my library.
Yeah, you gotta definitely pick this one up. It's just amazing. It's just one of the most amazing and highly calibrated books I feel like on the planet.
Yeah.
And actually, one of my clients ended up bringing me this copy of it, and I was like, she's like, "Have you read this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I have, but I don't have a copy in my library because I had a copy that was all jacked up." But it's just the power of now. I mean, the title says it everything. It says everything.
Yeah.
Now this
Tell me about
is
it.
spirituality, personal growth, mindset. There's a lot in here. You would really love this. I feel like it spills off into 2 categories for you.
Yeah.
Living, it's too often we live in the past and focus on, the future. And we forget to live in the present. And I think that's things that have nothing to do with today. You know, if you're thinking about something that happened 10 years ago to today, then that's affecting you from being productive and all that stuff. And we don't really figure that out. Like, I'll give you, so this is from chapter 5. So he does it in Q&A. So he was teaching and somebody asked a question. So this is how he wrote the book. You keep talking about the state of the presence as the key. I think I understand it intellectually, but I don't know if I have ever truly experienced it. I wonder, is that what I think it is, or is it something entirely different? Then he replies first. He said, it is not what you think it is. You can't think about the present, and the mind can't understand it. Understanding the present is being the present. We're overthinking about
Yes.
everything instead of understanding and living in the moment. You know, how often have you been out on a date and you're thinking about other things instead of experiencing the woman in front of you? You know, how long have you been at your kid's soccer game, and you're thinking about business world and all this other stuff, but you're not experiencing him or her in that moment? You know,
Yeah.
and that's so powerful. Like, why are you trying to think about something that is just there and live in that moment and take away all that distractions? You know, like we talked about before, that mind and body connection. You know, you're missing
Hmm.
out on so much because your mind is 10, 15 years back thinking about realities that don't even exist, because the only thing that really exists is the present. You can learn from your past, but your past shouldn't hold you up because the present moment only exists. Where's the past at? Where's the future at? You only have the present.
Yes. The past is not a place. It's simply in your memory. You
Yeah.
can't, walk down the hallway in your house, open up a door, and go to the past. It
Yeah.
doesn't exist. It's only in your mind. And the
Yeah.
future is just your imagination.
Yeah.
So we're living in the infinite moment,
Yeah.
the timeless moment. The,
Yeah.
it always was, it always is. And how can we be? People say, oh, it was fun. Oh, we were playing. What is that? It's when you're not thinking anymore. You're in that infinite moment,
Yeah.
just being. It's the
Yeah.
most powerful way to be.
Most powerful way to be. And it forces you to,
Yes.
when you be, instead of talk about becoming or all this other BS that everybody says,
Yeah.
you leave your ego behind, because
Hmm.
that's your ego. Your ego wants to continually to exist. So
Yes.
it's telling you based off of your past experiences who you are, and who you are you're supposed to be based off of your past experiences.
Hell
But if
yeah.
you can break free from that and live in the present, and become like that caterpillar that becomes the butterfly and
Yeah.
transform, a transmutation.
Yeah. Transform, be. And you know what? You can't be if your head is full of all sorts of junk. And now, if you're on social media a lot, you're watching the news, your head's going to be full of all sorts of stuff. It's hard to stay focused. And when it comes down to be, it's tough because you've got all this stuff on your mind. That's why I always recommend meditating. Take a moment, 5, 10, 15 minutes, clear your mind out. And when it comes to game time, there's less in between you and your goal.
Yeah,
Just be,
just be,
but
man.
prepare for that moment. Visualize that moment before that moment came along, and get rid of all this other stuff. But you don't want to be thinking about 10 different things when it's time for you to crush it.
Be
Living in the
focused.
power and now.
Be focused and ready. The last time I got up and speak, somebody laughed at me. The last
Mm-hmm.
time that I went to work, I didn't do well. The
Mm-hmm.
last time I got on the road, somebody chased me off. The last time I tried to save money, I spent it all on cheeseburgers. All that BS from the past thrown in front of your way, and you can't even live your
Yeah.
life to your fullest potential. And it's all projections of the
You're
mind.
afraid to fail.
You're afraid to fail. You're
Mm-hmm.
afraid to succeed. You're afraid just even to be. You're not only
You're
afraid to fail,
scared as hell.
be. Yeah, you're just scared as hell.
You're just scared
Yeah,
shitless.
you know.
Yeah, you're afraid to move off the couch, son.
Now you're afraid to, man, move off the couch. Be the best parent. Be the best sibling. The best significant other. You're afraid to be, because your ego and your past has corrupted your path and destroyed you.
Yes.
And it has destroyed so many. So it's like you said, we have so much negativity coming in. That's what, and then the ego just feeds off of it. Oh yeah, that's you. Oh yeah, hate that. Oh yeah, we don't like that, and you let
All
this
to protect your insecurities.
all to protect your insecurities. I seen a good post. You probably posted it, actually. You post some very good stuff on the Infinite Spirituality Instagram page. Really dope stuff. It's very thought provoking during the week. It kind of keeps you keep us all on the conscious and narrow path.
Thank you.
And it was like a face. Somebody pulled off a face and then showed a red face, and then pulled off another face, and then there was a child inside that, just showing that anger. So what's behind? And it said, what's behind all these arguments? And that's that insecurity of that little child that you don't want to deal with. So the power now really brings that to the forefront of your mind.
Yeah.
It really shows you the beauty of the present moment. How many of us have went outside to listen to the birds chirp, or to stop and smell the roses?
Oh.
We always walk past the roses.
But when have you stopped to enjoy them?
You stop to enjoy them.
Only when you get later towards the end of your life do you realize, you know what? I may only have 10, 15 years left. I wish I was more present during my whole life.
Sleep.
We don't want to get there. We want to be awake now, be woke.
Yeah, be woke.
Right? That should be one of our hashtags.
Yeah, be woke. You got to be woke. We're waking you up. We're trying to shake them. We're trying to shake them. Wake up, man. Wake up and begin to live life. Begin to smell the roses. You got things right around you that you're not experiencing. That's why some people say, oh, I want to see a miracle. You don't think it's a miracle you don't think the human body's a miracle that can just heal itself? You don't think when you're sick and you can go to sleep, you can just heal yourself? You don't think that, that you can move and walk and you're not floating in the sky? You don't think it's a miracle that sun don't just burn your ass up on a regular day basis and you don't just set a fire? You don't think that's a miracle?
You're a walking matter. Walking, talking matter. That is a damn miracle.
That's a miracle. And no other creature, every other creature has its blueprint encoded in them. A squirrel has to run around and chase that nut.
Yep.
Everything has to be, but a pig has to go get that slop. You are the only
jailbroke. It's like how you jailbreak your iPhone. We jailbroke ourselves. Downloading all sorts of apps we shouldn't.
We the only creature that can choose what we want to be, whatever you want to be. But you downloading other people's information and BS and negativity.
We're connected to the infinite. Is really what we are. We're downloading infinite knowledge.
Yeah.
If we choose.
If you choose.
But yeah, man. Love that book. That definitely gonna have to add that to my library. I'm glad that you brought that one up, man.
I love this book, man. I really do. This book,
Awesome.
What you got next?
This is my last book here. And this one, I don't know if you're familiar with this gentleman, but this is Inner Engineering by Sadhguru.
No, I'm familiar with Sadhguru, but I've never.
Yeah, no, Sadhguru is a guy who's had a lot of influence on me. And I attended a yoga seminar with him one day for a weekend, and we went through the yoga practices and got inducted into like a special sacred ancient meditation that he does that he'll only teach people who complete his program. And we're not supposed to teach it to each other, but it's quite a intense sequence of yoga that you do from a seated posture with your eyes closed, and there's all sorts of different yogic things you do, and it leads to a meditative state, and you can get really deep. And I've had a lot of reflection in this state. So, man, I'm a big Sadhguru guy. If you ever get a chance to do a yoga seminar or get him to teach you yoga, or even just listen to him, I would do it, or read his books. But this is Inner Engineering by Sadhguru, and it's a New York Times bestseller as well.
Oh,
but
wow.
It basically covers, basically Sadhguru's kind of his childhood. Very early on, he met a yoga instructor and was kind of taken away, and um, got into yoga, and he would ride around on his motorbike when he was younger and listen to the Beatles and teach yoga. And then day he rode his motorbike up to the top of a hill where kind of the teens go, or the young folks go to kind of hang out. And as he was sitting there, all of a sudden he started having this spiritual experience where he couldn't tell the difference between his body and everything around him. It was like the hill or the rocks were mixed with him, and he was mixed with the rocks and mixed with the air and everything. I guess it was kind of like looking through like a super microscope, to the point where you're just seeing everything on the energy level and it's mixed. And you know, I guess people kind of ribbed him, what, were you on LSD or something? But he said, no, it was just, didn't know what happened. And from that day on, he never forgot that experience and went deeper and deeper into spirituality, and basically became a meditation expert, and now has a yoga retreat or village in India with, where I guess millions of people go every year.
Wow.
And he's become a famous author as well. But it kind of documents what yoga is. And yoga actually means union. And it means union between kind of all of our kind of bodies. We have different bodies in our within our body. Some people just think we have one body, but there's several. There's like a physical body, there's a mental body, there's a spiritual body. But he goes on to say here, there's a technology for inner well-being, for creating a chemical basis for blissful existence. So, one thing he says is that we are just a bunch of chemicals. So based on how we're feeling, there's a different chemistry. Like anger would be a different chemistry than happiness. Anger might burn a different fuel in your body. Maybe anger burns a lot of red meat or something, and happiness burns, a lot of, who knows, something else. Maybe it burns fruits or something like that. So he goes on to propose that these different chemistries have different exhausts. So if you're angry all the time, you're burning a certain fuel, and that exhaust, other people can detect it. So kind of that's becomes like a spiritual body. So have you ever been around somebody angry and all of a sudden you start getting angry? That's because their spiritual body was, you're picking up on their spiritual body.
Yeah,
Or if
yeah,
somebody's extremely happy, you kind
yeah,
of feel it.
yeah.
You know what
I
I
have that.
mean?
Yeah, I definitely have that feel on people, like, because I'm a mindset motivator. So, but some people that come around and you immediately know it's like an aggravation in the force. You're like, there's an aggravation here. What's going on?
Yeah, no, definitely. So that's something that I became aware of, is that we all have this. And when we say spiritual, it means we can't see it. So according to what we're doing, we're burning certain fuels in our body. They're creating certain exhausts, and people can detect it, right? So we're giving off vibes to people. They're just picked up as vibes. And then he even gives certain spiritual exercises. Like he says, sit for a few minutes in front of a plant or a tree and remind yourself that you are inhaling what the tree is exhaling, and exhaling what the tree is inhaling. Even if you are not experientially aware of it, establish a psychological connection between you and the plant. You can repeat this several times a day. After a few days, you will start feeling connected with everything around you and feel differently. You won't limit to yourself as a tree. So that's like a simple spiritually awakening exercise that he's giving you to remind you that half of our lungs operate through trees. Like they breathe out our carbon dioxide and make it into oxygen again. Without trees and plants, we wouldn't even be able to survive. And to be spiritual is like to be aware of everything around you, and to know how you fit into it. So that's another, one of the exercises that he covers in this book. And there was another something that I kind of wanted to cover, if I don't remember it, but Well, he also talks about our five bodies. And the first body is our food body, or the anamaya kosha. That's like my skin and my bones. It's made of food. Like, it's not us. We're just acquiring it. So anything that you gather, it could never be you. And our body's changing all the time. Its skin cells are falling or dying. So we say that anything that's changing couldn't be us. So the first body is the food body. The second body is the mind body, or the mental body. So that's a completely different body. They're not connected. So that's anything we're thinking, anything we ever acquired. Our mind, once again, is an aggregate of anything that ever made an impression on us. The content is not our own because it came from the outside. We collected it from somewhere else. You collected it from a book. You collected it from the TV. Somebody said it to you. So once again, your food body, you collected it from the earth. You ate it and it became you. So that couldn't be you. The mental body, you collected it from outside. So that couldn't be you as well. The third body is the energy body. And that's kind of like our atoms and stuff. They're moving around. We're a bunch of energy. And that's constantly moving. That couldn't be us either. The fourth body is, and I know I'm going deep here, is the knowledge body. That's, again, something we collected. The final body is the bliss body, and that lays very outside of the bodies. Why I said that was through yoga. What you can do is you can take all five of those bodies when you're spiritually aligned and just 100% align them at that time. You are spiritually vibrating. You are high spiritual. People would recognize it, and you're cutting through life. So that's basically what the intent of yoga is to take those five bodies, the food body, the mental body, the energy body, the knowledge body, and the bliss body, and align them. And when you do that, you become like spiritually enlightened. So yeah, that's Inner Engineering by Sadhguru. So if you want to get a little bit deeper,
it's called what?
If you want to get Inner Engineering by Sadhguru,
I'm gonna order that off of Amazon right now. Inner Engineering.
So that's one of those books.
I'm real big on doing that right away because you'll forget, and then you're like, oh man, because that sounds, because I've been talking about that mind and body connection, and that even goes deeper. And I'm a fan of his. But I guess I never went that deep and see if he had books and stuff like that. Because I watch his videos. And
he does.
He's funny.
Oh hell yeah.
Funny.
He is funny. And the fact that you did it right down, that's just like Think and Grow Rich. It says start now with what tools you have. Better tools will be found along the way. Some people say, I can't do it, man. I can't do a podcast. I don't have that awesome microphone, or I need a laptop, or dude, there's like a voice recorder on your cell phone. Just turn it on.
Turn it on.
You know what I mean? Or just press go live on YouTube. Just start now. That is the number one problem. You don't start.
And you'd be surprised how good you are.
Yeah. And how much better you're going to be just by the lessons that you learn. It's the mistakes that people fear, that they don't understand, are the gems. Those are the lessons. So if you think the first time is going to suck, then do it, and then write down why it sucked and deal with it. Yeah. But the idea of just going out there and just killing it the first time and overnight, success, no.
Well,
now you've been watching too much TV.
You'll find that too, that some people, people are relatable. When you're relatable, you're making mistakes. Let's say you start recording like, oh, that's funny. And then they get your message, So it's just like, hey, if you mess up, go ahead. Don't be afraid to mess up. But yeah, that's a good book, man. I don't even want to present any of my other books after you went with that one. That's a
no. You got it. We'll get one more book.
That's a knockout right there. That's a finisher of the night. We might have to wait till next.
That is. Give us some bonus content then. Give us one more book, just bonus content. You know what I mean? Like we won't even put it on the podcast. We'll just put a private link and email it out.
Oh, my next book, though, that I was going to talk about it's a good book. It's action. It's called Slight Edge.
Yep.
The Slight Edge, and it says turning simple disciplines into massive success and happiness. So, funny story is that I also have 2 copies of this book.
Yeah.
See, most books I give out as gifts, like during Christmas and stuff like that. And
I
then
do
I
that
got,
too.
and then I got a package in the mail, and one of my former clients had sent me this book, and I'm like, oh, I already have a copy, but this is a real nice, slick copy where it looks unused, so it looks really nice on the bookshelf. But very simple book, you know. Follow some of John Maxwell's stuff if you guys are familiar with him. Turning simple disciplines into massive success and happiness. So there's a story in this that I really like. Let me see if I can actually find it real fast because I know it's early off.
No, it's all good. And I haven't read that book, but you remind me of myself when you say that you buy people books for Christmas. It's just most of the people I buy books for, they don't read it. And you know what I mean? Or I just stopped lending books.
Yeah.
Because
I don't lend anybody.
You never get them back.
I had 2. Yeah. I've had 3 people in the last couple of weeks try to get a book from me, and I'm like, no, just go buy it. Because I mean, no investment, no value. If you're watching or listening to the podcast, I want you to say it to yourself. No investment, no value. If you don't have to invest in something, you're not going to value it. If somebody gives you something for free,
you go.
You don't value it. So make an investment on a book. Like this book is $19. You'll spend that on, a double cheeseburgers for the whole family. So
yeah. That's why winning the lottery can destroy you. If you just get handed all that money to you, no investment, no value, you don't know what it took to earn that money. Yeah. You didn't know how to invest it. You didn't know how to save it. You didn't know how to budget it. It became the worst thing for you. You know what I mean? And now
there was a team that used this book and they won a championship too. You lost me?
Yeah.
You hear me?
No, I'm with you.
Oh, I thought you said you lost me. No. It said, one thing it says, do the right thing and you shall have power. The formula of success is quite simple. Double your rate of failure. That's not the quote I was looking for, but so this guy came to his 2 sons and he said, he's on his deathbed. He says, now I got a lump. You can have this check for $150,000, or you can let a penny double every day for like 64 days or something like that and see which one who has more money, So at the end of the day, the one kid said, hey, I'll let the penny double every day for X amount of time. And the kid he had an abundance of wealth because he just let that penny double. And what that story means to me is if you do something every day, take small baby steps every day towards your goal and your vision, you're going to look up, you're going to have more than even what you thought you would have. If you wrote down $10 million as your financial goal, Think and Go Rich, because these 2 books go together, and you do something every single day towards that task, whether you're working on your mindset or your motivation or how to hone in on your skill, like my man Yogi Infinite talked about, then you're going to look up and you're going to be like 4 or 5 years from now, maybe even 2 years from now if you do it just right, maybe even a month from now, and be a completely different person.
100%.
Completely different person, but you got to be willing.
Every day move 1%. And in 100 days, you've already changed 100%.
You already changed 100%, man. If you want to change, that's what it takes. It takes that action. Action is what gets results. You're saying all this stuff. I want to be a better father. You don't do anything with your kids.
Yeah.
Start by taking them to the park, man.
Start now with what you have.
Start with what you got, man. And then when you have, that's why, there's a good scripture that say, you've been faithful over small things, so you are blessed with many. And then, I like Jim Rohn. I think you're a fan of Jim Rohn too.
Yeah.
He uses a parable that Jesus taught, and he talks about the master and the talent. You know, the master gave all his servants a talent. He gave one, a 5, and a 7. And when he got back, the 7 guy, he said, Master, I turned the 7 into 14. I turned the next guy 5 into 10. The last guy, he said, I buried one because I know that you are mean and I know you are really strict. And I buried this so I could have this when you get back. Here it is. The master took the talent and handed it to the guy that turned the 7 into 14 because he didn't do nothing with his talent.
Mm-hmm.
See, the universe knows that if you don't do nothing with what you got, why would it even give you more? You can't even manage what you got. You know, you can't manage being kind and nice to your neighbor. Why would I give you an organization or a business where you're just going to bring that filthy attitude to everybody? You know,
Law
you
of
can't even,
attraction.
you can't manage your wife. Why do you need children? You know, you know, you know, and it's just, and it's just like, you got to think about it like that. You know, you can't manage to read one book. So why is Infinite Yogi going to sing you one every Christmas?
Yeah. Hell yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
You should send him the same book. That's what you should do. Just keep on. I know you ain't
Yeah.
read.
No kidding.
I know you didn't read it. So here's that book again. And you know when you give
Yeah.
somebody a book and they don't read it because when you
They never
like,
talk about it.
you never talk about it.
And then you go to their house one day and you see it and you're like, hey, man, didn't I lend you that like 2 years ago? And you genuinely forgot too.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of, you don't even ask, can I have it back? You just take it.
Yeah.
Just pick it up and take it. You don't ask at that point.
It seems like you're talking from personal experience.
Yeah. And you know what the messed up thing is? That same person will come over to your house somewhere down the road and they'll try to take another book from you. And you're just like, no, man. It's like, hey, man, quit being a jerk.
Hey man, no, you didn't read the
Like,
last
you
book.
ain't gonna read it.
Go
You
on
ain't gonna
Amazon,
read
get it. You know, I think they might have good intention, and just it don't take much to read a book. Read a chapter a night. Say I'm gonna read 10 pages every day. After we get off of this, I got this book I'm reading. I got one that I didn't show.
Yep.
I'm rereading it. I'm gonna read 10 pages every night. You know, whether I have time or not, 10 pages. Come on, you can do that on the toilet. You know, you can take
Yeah,
away
sometimes I have to.
your phone time.
Sometimes I need 20 pages.
Yeah, 20 pages, and you'll find yourself doing that once you just getting in the groove of reading. You'll find yourself reading more pages. But come on, man, you can read a book a month. You can read a book this
I
month.
can't even wake up without reading. My mind gets activated by reading. And
Yeah.
we talked about morning and evening, how we're crossing over into that spiritual dimension. So you can reprogram yourself a lot easier.
Yeah.
So if you want to learn something and you want to shape yourself, hit at those times. Like you can read in the afternoon too. The morning and evening will have that special impact on you. You'll be able to program your subconscious mind a lot better, man. But man, that's dope, man. I thought we had an awesome podcast. Reading out the books for our viewers there. Obviously at work with you, you ordered a book like in podcast, like you couldn't even wait. So hopefully some of our viewers are going to do the same things. If you've got a favorite book of yours, leave it down in the comments. And hey, maybe we'll grab a copy as well. It's a two-way thing. We communicate with you. You let us know how you're feeling. That's what it's all about.
The law of reciprocity. Let's keep it rolling.
That's it. That's it, brother. We got a tip for our viewers this week? Who's got a tip?
I think just, man, like I said, the law of reciprocity, give and you shall receive, so like we giving you these books, put a couple books down below, put a couple books in the comment that you like and that you want to share, or some books that might have changed your life, and leave us a quote. If there's a couple quotes in that book that you like, leave us a quote. I'm always open to new information and new knowledge. And I feel like sometimes, no, this is not sometimes, all the time, we hold the keys for each other. There's certain books that I have read that you have not read because your path has not taken you down that way, because it didn't require you to go that way. Your path requires you to come towards me, to pass by me who had read that book and to give you that book. You see? Just like I had never read any Sadhguru books, but my path took me to Yogi Infinite.
Yes.
So now I've ordered the book, although I've always liked him. So it's just like, be open to the keys that other people have for you.
Yes, definitely. And always take action. You listen to the podcast. We talked about the books. Go and order yourself a book. And, if you don't like the ones that we chatted about, grab one that does work for you. And remember, the different types of books, get your mindset right. You know what I mean? Get yourself some motivation, get some specialized books, whatever you're interested in. But, this has been an awesome podcast. I know we could go longer, but, Broman's got to do his reading.
There will be a part 2.
The Exalted One's got to get in his reading chair, so we're going to let him go. And we hope you love the podcast. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.